Eid Al Adha. What's the significance of Eid Al Adha? It's a question that I ask myself. It's a question that I ask my family members. It's a question that I ask the students at Madinah College, whether it's in the madrasa for kids or the students who are studying the diploma course. And I'm sure it's a question you may be asked, or if you're a new Muslim, it's a question you're wondering yourself. Eid al-Adha is the Arabic which is translated as the Eid of Sacrifice. And it marks one of two celebrations that Muslims have every single year. The first one is called Eid al-Fitr, which marks the completion of fasting a month, right? The blessed month of Ramadan, right? And it's also fasting the month of Ramadan is the fourth pillar of Islam. And Eid al-Adha, which is the second, it's in the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the last month of the Islamic calendar, and it marks this celebration that we celebrate, which is marking the sacrifice that the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, peace be upon him, known as Abraham in the Christian and the Judaic scriptures, offered a sacrifice and was willing to sacrifice his only son at the time, Ismail, out of obedience for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this sacrifice that he was willing to do is mentioned in the Quran in the surah or the verse which is known as Safat, in verse number 111, okay, where the Prophet Abraham, he said to his son that, "Oh my son, I have seen in a dream that I am sacrificing you. So what do you say?" And his son, with patience, obedience to Allah, as well as obedience to his father, said and replied, "Oh my father, do as you have been commanded. You will indeed find me of those who are patient." So this is the story behind this act of sacrifice, which is, and then as is well known, he went to fulfill and carry out this command, and instead of his son being sacrificed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replaced his son with a ram. And from that moment onwards, we celebrate this Eid, this festival, Eid Al Adha, right? And part of it is often what's known as qurbani and udhiyah, which is a sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which the meat is distributed amongst the poor and the needy, as well as given to your eaten yourself, cooked and eaten and distributed to family and friends. Okay, so this is a little bit about Eid al-Adha and the story behind it, and it's been a sunnah, a tradition which has carried on from the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and has continued up until now, and we continue to follow that tradition and practice it on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, on the day of Eid. Now, in addition to this, there are a number of things that Muslims do on Eid, i.e. how do we celebrate Eid Al Adha? How do you celebrate the celebration? Well, first of all, there's the Eid prayer, which every Muslim attends, right, either in the masjid or in an outside space. The second thing is to actually offer a qurbani, which is either a sheep or a goat, or a share in a cow or a share in a camel, right? And that's something for those that can afford to do it. It's highly recommended. The third is to visit family, for example, or to actually celebrate and be happy, right? To give treats and sweets, cook food, and to basically enjoy the day. And also to wear your best clothes, whether it's new clothes or whether it's not new clothes, but just to wear your best clothes on that day. And in the case of men, to also put on perfume. So this is how we celebrate Eid. on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. And as I mentioned previously as well, the verses in the Quran that speak about the sacrifice, right? A sacrifice that was of the greatest of sacrifices, that shows complete love and devotion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And that the heart is only attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shows tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the ultimate sacrifice which Muslims make when they follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay away from the prohibitions, as is mentioned in the Surah As-Safat in the ayats number 110 to 100 upwards from what I remember. So this is Eid Al Adha in a nutshell. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who are benefiting in these blessed 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, and that you enjoy your Eid with your family and your friends and your children and your neighbours, and as is always the case, to be of those that are giving gifts and bringing and spreading love. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.